Hello everyone, this is the Gaming Cat, and I know it's been a while, but I decided to make this little video to basically answer a long-wondered question. Why I never made a sequel or follow-up to Top 10 Biggest Problems with Modern SpongeBob. One of my most famous videos, which is a weird thing to think about. Even all these years later, I'm still getting comments and views and all sorts of stuff on it. It's kind of weird to think that this thing is part of my legacy now. But yeah, even back then, I would often get questions from people asking things like, hey, are you going to make top 10 biggest problems with post-movie SpongeBob, top 10 best things about post-movie SpongeBob, or things like top 10 worst things with Modern Family Guy, top 10 worst things about fucking, I don't know, Modern The Simpsons or whatever. And the reason I never made any of those, you've probably guessed already, it really just comes down to I didn't want to, but that's not really a satisfying answer, and there was a bit more to it than that, so I think I'll just try to divulge best I can. Basically, I have never made anything that I did not intensely want to make. Like, every single video of mine that you've seen was always one that I felt very motivated to make in some way. And if I never made it, I didn't want to do it. Like, if you want any evidence of that, the fact that I retired from YouTube poop, even though that I had every reason to keep going. Like, those videos were getting views, I was getting monetization off them. If I wanted, I could have just kept making SpongeBob poops forever and just kept rolling in that forever, but I didn't want to do it because I just stopped wanting to do it. And yeah, it really just comes down to I didn't make a sequel or follow-up just because I didn't have any real ideas. I didn't have any real drive to make something like... The whole reason I made Top 10 Biggest Problems with Modern SpongeBob was because back then, that was, one of the big topics of the internet, and certainly the one that I felt most passionate about, And this was years and years before, I became an adult. I realized there's more important things in the world than just talking about SpongeBob episodes, and I loved looking at all the videos by people like, Mr. Enter and whatnot, who would just yell and scream and whatnot about how bad SpongeBob was, and I knew I wanted to kind of contribute to that because, it was thanks to Mobros Studios' original videos that I kind of became part of that discourse to begin with. But I didn't want to just do what everyone else was doing, because what everyone was doing was they were talking about specific episodes, and they were talking about lists of episodes and whatnot, and I figured, okay, there's got to be some underlying theme I can use to tie this all together and figure out how to make this feel not redundant. So what I did was I realized, okay, well, there's recurring problems with these episodes that people notice and bring up, but they don't really talk about how it all ties together. So I figured what I would do was I wouldn't talk about episodes, I would talk about the problems themselves and how a lot of episodes shared them. My intent was basically to make the Modern SpongeBob video to end all Modern SpongeBob videos. And I think I did a good job with that. That's not to say that it's the kind of video I would make nowadays, because, I've well moved on from that sort of topic. And also, there were things about it that I would change nowadays, but I think that for the time it came out and for what it did, it served its purpose very, very well, and I don't feel any real desire to revisit it. And for those of you wondering what I think about post-movie SpongeBob, as a lot of people are calling it, like post-movie referring to the second movie and the episodes that started coming out after Steven Hillenburg returned, and even the ones being produced after his tragic death, rest in peace, I think they're decent. That's basically my overall thoughts on them. They're decent, they're certainly not as good as the classic era, but they're definitely way better than what we used to have, and I respect everyone putting in the effort to make them, I like the creative ideas they're doing for all the episodes. I like how they're bringing back a lot of classic scenes and characters for them. I think it's really funny how they brought back Bubble Bass despite him only appearing in one episode ever, two if you count his non-speaking role in the Fun episode, and they've made him this recurring kind of like comic book shop guy character from The Simpsons. I think that's creative. I like how active they've had Squidward play a role in more episodes and giving him just as much like levity and goofiness along with the other characters, even if it's not the same kind or on the same level. it's his own. Honestly, I'd say that Squidward nowadays is even better than he used to be, which I think is really unexpected and cool. What else is there? I like how creative they go with the new animation. Honestly, even if it doesn't always work, even if there are times when I agree with some people saying that they go a bit too over the top with expressions sometimes, I like that they're putting in the effort. I like that they're doing everything to really, make it pop, make it creative and fun. I think that's worth that. I think that's worth admiring. So, yeah, it's not. My thoughts on this are just disjointed because, it's SpongeBob. I don't really think much about SpongeBob on a passion level of I want to watch this. I want to make sure I watch every episode there is. I still got a very strong fondness for it in my heart, as probably easy to see back there. But I'm an adult. I don't think about critiquing and reviewing SpongeBob as a serious sort of thing. I got other things I'm worrying about. So, yeah, that's basically all those matters at once. And speaking of serious things, so I know a couple months back I said that I was working on a movie and that movie would be coming out. But the original time I said it would be coming out has kind of come and gone. That's because there's a couple more minor things that need to be settled, mostly being that the distribution network I'm planning to use to upload it, that being Film Hub, I found out that my poster needs to come in a specific format in order to distribute it, as well as a couple other things. So really I'm just waiting for the people I've hired to make those fixes to finish up, and then it will finally be released. And you will all very much know when it is. So until then, I'm glad you all took the time to listen. Leave whatever you want in the comments. Maybe I'll look, maybe I won't. No, I will look, don't worry. And this is the Gaming Cat, once again wishing you all the best of luck.